This is Rich Lieberman after dark. Now, somebody was talking to me the other day, and it was one of these guys that periodically pops up on Facebook and tells me how to be a millionaire kind of a guy. A real good intention guy. Not a wise guy, a decent guy. He's got a few shekels laying around the house. East Coast guy. Used to work out here. Doesn't need to have notoriety or anything. He's telling me, like all these other people, what I do right, what I do wrong, this, that, and the other. Be more animated. That's my favorite wording. Animated. Excuse me a minute. And I'm saying, look, I'm being me. Animated. Everybody in the fucking planet is doing these shows now, these podcasts. I think it's gotten to the point now where a baby comes out of the womb, and the first thing her mother or his mother does is looks at the baby and says, "Hey, let's do a podcast," or something like that kind of shit. That's what we become in this world. And which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm still trying to piece together what this guy was telling me about being more animated. Folks, I am who I am, what I am. And I'm not into doing stupid shit. I once joked about a guy sitting on the toilet, literally taking a crap. And he had over 1 million hits on YouTube. And I couldn't do that even if I, had a big ravioli dinner and stuck my face with meatloaf at my favorite local cafe. I just couldn't do it. And I'm being totally serious now. That's the world in which we live in these days. Everything is a gimmick. Every fucking person on the planet is doing a podcast, schmodcast, this, that, the other. And people with massive fucking egos who have nothing to say. You might be saying, well, you have nothing to say. No, I have a lot to say. My problem is I'm too real, and I'm saying shit that you don't market. I don't have elaborate backdrops. This thing is kind of, oh, you got to get better lighting. Fuck that. Better lighting. What am I, a fucking, production company? That's the thing. I'm like talking to various people, and I not because I want to talk to people and they're going to tell me how to be a millionaire, that kind of a thing. At this point, I'm just looking to be genuine. I have never heard a word that is so undervalued these days as authentic. I remember Larry King used to tell me, and then he subsequently would say it to everybody who was interested, be yourself, for better or worse, right? And that seems to be sort of not performed these days. Every fucking person's got some kind of, oh, I like this one too. You got to have an angle. How about you talk about real life issues and things of that nature? How about you discuss things that affect you, yourself, and whatever? I don't, I was talking to somebody that I'll never forget it a couple of weeks ago. I was very interested in the airplanes that flew to Iran and bombed the shit out of or at least we think they did, the nuclear sites. And I'm like, I couldn't fly a plane if my life depended on it. I don't know anything about airplanes. I know how to get on one, hopefully arrive, that kind of a thing. Yet I was really, really intrigued by the look of this goddamn B-2, whatever it was. Yeah, it was the B-2 bomber kind of a thing. Talk about straight out of Star Wars. So my point on that is, it's just whatever happened to just plain talking about real life issues and things of that nature. My problem, folks, really, is one of the reasons why I'm going broke, is the fact that I worry too much about Kron's livelihood. and whether or not Juliet Goodrich should be on the CBS Evening News and not the fucking dolts that they have on there now. And that's not to diss, obviously, Julie Goodrich. But my point is that I think I'm the only one who thinks this, but I'm expressing it. I have no fucking bullshit. And I'm not going to scream and yell and talk about sports and who gives a flying fuck about the 49ers fourth round draft pick. Even people in that fucking arena don't give a shit. These are guys who pick their nose and scribble all the way until they're blue. And they have families, they have kids, mind you. And they're worried about the fourth round draft pick of the 49ers and shit like that. To a very, very limited audience who don't give a shit about that. And when you look at the entire fucking world of what is going on, look at the goddamn world in which we live in these days. What the fuck are we talking about? And that includes, by the way, politics. I hate talking about politics, yet I am a political junkie. I get all that. But even I get sort of bored and saying, oh no, do we have a fucking talk about this shit again? And that includes Trump and Democrats are evil, which they pretty much are. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Speaking of real life issues, we got a fucking party that has no touch of reality. And the Republicans are not any better. They're just not the fucking Democrats. People don't give a shit about that. There are people out there, they're just trying to get by. They live, and I used to think they live a certain way. I used to think, well, how could they not, look at the news? And I really empathize now with people who said, Rich, I can't watch that shit. I don't like watching the news. Not because they're not interested in what's happening, not because they think that they're insignificant. It's the fact that they're just overwhelmed, which is what I feel from time to time, if not all the time. People are just overwhelmed, and the pace and the frenzy and all this shit, it's too fast. It's way too fast. People have their own world in which they live. I think by and large, the formula of just being able to have a house and raising kids, and you don't necessarily have to raise kids to be whole. I'm talking in general. My point is just being able to live and to enjoy, not massively, not 24/7, have a life, not worry about the fucking rent or the mortgage or that your kids are going to be safe at school before some fucking nutcase goes and fucking starts shooting. That's the only good thing about not having kids these days, is the fact that I would worry my ass off. You drop your kids off and look at the shit we're dealing with, which, by the way, I want to talk about not wanting to watch the news. Everything is goddamn weird, becomes so numb. I'm not going off on a political topic, so relax, folks. I'm just talking out loud after dark. Not a wise guy. But we become so numb, these shootings and all this shit. We just bury it. We exist with it and all that. And I'm tired of it myself. Let that fucking phone ring. That's another thing that bothers me. You go to have breakfast, you eat your oatmeal or drink your coffee or you do whatever you're going to do. And you see these sons of bitches, these morons, these fucking guys with their glasses and their goddamn headphones, with their goddamn computers. Today, at my cafe that I go to have the coffee, some asshole is sitting there on another table. And there's not that many people there, probably about 10 people. He's talking out loud. As no fucking mindset of, well, people are trying to, have a little privacy, trying to, what's the word? Enjoy a little bit of quiet time and not have to endure this fucking moron asshole talking out loud on the phone. Can you believe that? I guess he's looking at his laptop and decided to let everybody in the cafe in on his conversation, which we don't really give a shit about, A. It drove me crazy. I was almost going to get up and say, get the fuck off. I felt like that character, the Michael Douglas character. Remember, what was it called? Failing or something. He was just pissed off. He was a short sleeve shirt. Remember, he walks around. He wants to have breakfast at a McDonald's, and they tell him we stopped serving breakfast. It was like about a minute after the time they've designated that they don't serve breakfast. It was something, I don't even remember the movie, but you guys know the movie. And he's fed up. And then it goes into some political shit. And he walks into a Korean liquor store and he starts getting crazy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, can we not go to a place where we can have some serenity, some tranquility, where we don't have to see a fucking cell phone or hear that tune where people call you or a laptop? I know I'm barking up the wrong tree. I wish we could just go in there anywhere and sit and drink coffee and listen to classical music. Not that classical music is any Nirvana, but you know what I mean. And not have to endure these gadgets and this bullshit and hear people talking out loud, which is so annoying. That's why I don't go to the movie theaters anymore. I got to hear these assholes on their cell phones and their texts and their bullshit. Can we not just watch a fucking movie? And it has nothing to do with COVID and all that. I know people are not going to the movie theaters anymore because they're worried about COVID and people's lifestyles has changed. By the way, isn't that great? So remember the idea going out to a movie, a real movie experience. You sit in a dark theater and you watch a movie in front of this big, huge screen, and you eat your popcorn or your Milk Duds or whatever bullshit Pennzoil that they put in the popcorn these days, and not have to pay $50,000 fucking dollars for a box of popcorn. I remember when popcorn was like $5. Now it's like you got to fill out a credit app. And going to the movies, for God's sakes, it's like $20. Take a family of 4, 2, whatever. That's a lot of money. I forgot. I mean, shit. No wonder they're not going to the movies. But that's another topic. There is no tranquility. Every fucking person has to be heard. We don't have a place where we can just relax. No wonder there's crazy people in this world. Look at our culture. Look at what everything has evolved into. We used to have leadership and love, and I mean real love. We don't even have that anymore. We have fucking Pornhub. Guys are telling me, hey, you go to Pornhub. Fuck Pornhub. I've never, ever got into shit like that. I'm not trying to be Mr. Pure here. I never, honest to God, never got into manufactured porn sites. First off, it fucks your computer up. Why you would go there, I have no idea. I know guys, especially, I know some women are into this shit now too. What is the person doing looking at their computer and all that? No wonder why there's viruses and shit like that. Don't ever get me onto the Pornhub. I mean, I'm going to watch people that are fornicating and talking about love and all that. That's all I need. Therapy. Rich, you need therapy. No, they need therapy. And I'm not putting down therapists. They serve a valuable function. I just never got into the fact that somebody can sit there and talk to me, and I know everybody is these days talking about, the media is fucked up and fake news and all that, and Trump, and as I keep saying, we're all overwhelmed. I have no bent either way. I'm not anti this or anti that. Yeah, I hate the fucking radio that we have listened to. It's not just locally, but beyond. We have no radio for the most part. It's all bullshit, contrived crap. And look what we've become, folks. I'm not being negative. I'm being factual. Our culture is defined by the electronic gadgetry to which we're all, whether we like it or not, have become accustomed to. I'd love to go inside a room and just sit there and eat a bagel, sip some coffee. Those of you that drink whatever, have a beer, where we just had some empty time. But yet we have all this bullshit taking place. And I don't really, you know what? I don't really give a fuck anymore about Trump and Epstein. And as we concentrate on shit that it doesn't matter anymore. And I'm not saying don't blame this fucking Epstein. I don't give a shit if the guy killed himself or he was murdered or committed suicide. Who gives a shit? Well, obviously we do. And I'm not saying dissing the theories and conspiracy and all that. I know I'm all over the place, but that's what our lives are these days. We're all over the place. Everybody's got a fucking angle. Everybody's got some kind of axe to grind. I have an axe to grind. I just haven't figured it out yet. I've got fucking trolls on here. We're going to report you to this. Go ahead. Fuck. You think that's on my laundry list of what's important these days? I'm just trying to sit up, have a bowl of oatmeal with raisins and nothing else, maybe a little bit of sweet low. That's my life. I like little things. And I don't care if Trump is this or that, or Dems bad, Republicans good, Washington, all this shit that we have. TMZ and this and BMZ and podcasts and Joe Rogan and fucking comics that are not funny and radio guys that are not funny or creative and everything is bullshit. Everything. There's not an ounce of originality out there. And I'm not just talking about the performing arts. Look at the fucking movies. There's no movie stars anymore. The real movie stars have either died or they're just living out the sunset years. They know it. Tom Cruise. I'm going to go look at that asshole. Yeah, I love The Firm. Perfect. I didn't see any of the Mission Impossibles. I don't want to support that motherfucker. He's an asshole. I root for Nicole Kidman. She left that son of a bitch and his Scientology, which is a fucking absolute disgrace of a cult. You want to talk about a cult? Why are they going after Scientology? That asshole Cruise jump up and down on a couch in front of Oprah. And Oprah, why don't you call him out? You had a chance to. You sold your soul for that asshole. What? Because he's Tom Cruise? That's the shit that drives me crazy and batty. But beyond that, we have no stars. I'm going to go see some asshole named Picker. What? Who's a big box office star? Rob Schneider? Are you kidding me? Or people that do these stupid, I don't know, Las Vegas acts. What's the one with the tiger and Mike Tyson? Yeah, that's a real good movie. We have no pulse. We have no realness. The world in which we live is all, again, we're all in these fucking gadgets. Hell, I'm on a gadget right now. Pardon me. But last I checked, this is the way in which we communicate these days, because every fucking asshole and even good people are doing podcasts. I hate that word, podcast. You think Ted Koppel did podcasts or Walter Cronkite? I realize, yeah, it's a whole different era and all that shit. But seriously, podcast. What, so we can get creative thought? We're all so goddamn consumed by bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Everybody's got some angle, some agenda. I know that's a powerful word. I'm not talking about selling shit or look at this fucking face. Look at this head. I know I look like it in a game of hide and go seek, but I know my limitations. I'm a pretty fucked up individual. I admit it. I really do. And I'm not happy about it, but we're all fucked up. We are. I don't give a shit. The Pope, everybody. Give me somebody who's pure. And the culture in which we live with these fucking assholes, the cancel culture, it goes beyond all of that. Yeah, they want to put everybody out of business. They think that their moral superiority is pure and that they have no axe to grind. Bullshit. They tried to take me out of business. They continue to, because I was being tongue in cheek about a certain gender and about a certain segment of society. Oh, yeah, I'm really a threat to your existence. Go after me. Fuck you. We have people who are just out and out. Their drive to put people out, to censor people, and to do shit. And it goes beyond politics, folks. You know, dare I say this? The culture in which we live this day and age. Welcome to the YouTube here. This is going to be something to which I will center on. You know what? It's not just the fake news. It's not the public mistrust of the overall media. It's the fact that nobody, and I do mean nobody has faith anymore in any aspect of our society. That goes everywhere, not just the news media. It's everything. Remember when you used to think that certain things, certain people were pure and that you can trust them? That's why years and years ago, before I was born, but I remember when he was later in his life, people trusted Walter Cronkite because they felt that he was credible. They believed him, even though he probably had some skeletons in his own closet. But yet we had a trust of certain societal institutions. And nowadays, nobody believes anybody. Nobody has any faith in anybody. I talked about the Pope. I talked about certain people that we all thought were pure and that they were not privy to being exposed or called out. And we have nobody. We fuck with everybody. Everybody fucks with us. Nobody has any faith anymore. I, for one, I don't know how I would be able to raise kids in this world today. What do you tell your kids? Really, folks, maybe I'm going off, fine, sue me. What do you tell your kids at the dinner table? No wonder they're all fucking weird and reading, Nancy Drew would be considered a virtue and all that shit. Get off the goddamn computer, Cindy or Mikey. You're 11 years old. Go out and play kickball. Go out and do something, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud that these fucking screens, it goes beyond that. It's technology, Rich. You got to deal with technology. Fuck it. Read a book, even though books these days are the shits. Everybody has some sort of agenda. You might be saying, Rich, you have an agenda. No, I don't. I don't have an agenda whatsoever. If I had my druthers, I would be talking to a small little audience in a nice little hall with coffee and some, diabetic-free donuts and discussing things and just talking. We can't talk. We got to fucking text. Text. Can you text me? I made fun the other day of this guy. It was purely just making fun of the guy that talks like this. He's a local broadcaster on a radio station who can't talk normal. He's got to talk like he's got to stick up his ass, but he's a radio anchorman. And I'm going to talk, and people got to charge out it. Some people gave me the usual trolls. Fuck you, that I expected. I wouldn't be doing my gig. And I was like, my point was, there's no reality anymore. We're all, and this is, by the way, it's not a rant against, I'm going to talk about the world and its societal ills and this. I'm just talking out loud. That's why I themed it After Dark. Because literally talking about Kron and their fucked up weather people and their shitty newscasters and whether or not KGO sold its soul to Disney and why Disney is fucked up. Talk about being fucked up. I might get to that pretty soon. No, folks, I would be broker than I am if I concentrated on that shit. The world as a whole, there are some sane places left. But by and large, it reminds me the culture in which we live and the people that represent kind of the culture. There was a comedian named David Feldman in San Francisco, and he had a great line. He says, "I love America, I hate Americans." And you think about it, and it's kind of that's easy to say that and all that. But look at our people. Look what we're consumed with, all this bullshit, Duck Dynasty, and watching shit that nobody gives a shit. Oh, did you see the new thing on this streaming thing? Every fucking thing these days, there is nothing more insulting than all these fucking Hulus and Bulus and Apple TV and this, that, and the other. I remember free radio and free television and all that. Nowadays, you can't even enjoy yourself. You can't sit and look at a goddamn whatever for 15 minutes. You got to get, I'm asking for money. Yes, I am. I have. Okay. I'm not going to go into that. Everybody wants to make a buck. Everybody needs a buck because we have shitty coffee. Everything and everybody, we're all overwhelmed. I am. How can you not be? What do you say to your kids? And the fact of how fucked up a culture where you drop your kids off at school. Do you ever think about oh my God, what could happen and all that? And nowadays we just kind of go with it. Some shooting there, some shooting there. 15 kids are dead, this or that or something. And we're consumed with shit that nobody gives a shit about. Look at it. It's all trivial and fake news and Trump and all, when I say overwhelmed, it doesn't matter whether you're independent, Republican, Democrat, green, blue, white, black, gay, straight, Jew, Christian. We are overwhelmed. We are. That doesn't make us bad. How do you live in this world in which we live in? Seriously. What do you tell your kids? It has to come up, right? Something that they ask. I would start because I'm a fucking wuss. I agree. I totally agree with this. I cry a lot lately. I miss my mom. And by the way, I'm getting shit on that. Like, you talk about your mom. Fuck you. Take me off the air if I talk about my mom too much. She was my best friend. She helped guide me through shit in life. You want something where you don't have to hear me talk about mom? Don't watch me. Bullshit. I'll talk about my father, perhaps, or maybe my cousin or my aunt. If we talked more, perhaps, about our family, if we paid attention to family and our kids, as opposed to bullshit like fucked up, what's going on streaming tonight? We're going to watch the 50th reenactment of Suits, whatever the fuck that is, and I heard it's a good show. Folks, I keep saying this word. It means a lot. It's true. Overwhelmed. Don't have any faith anymore. Don't have any guidance anymore. We've lost. You know what? I'm going to say something. You're going to pile on me. Go ahead. We've lost faith in each other. Everybody has pent up anger, like me. Anger, frustration, overwhelmed, worrying about shit that really doesn't mean shit. Like I said, one of my themes was people who just get by. I understand. Go to the grocery store and see the $10,000 to buy a couple of cartons of eggs and carts and shit and milk that cost $1,000. You know what I mean? I'm not being a little, obviously. It's overwhelming, and worrying about rent and mortgages and whether or not our husband, who's a cop, makes it home. And even if he's not a cop, he's working as a roofer and shit like that. We're all full of fear. I know. I'm full of fear. Look at me. I tried my best. I had a massive relationship, and I fucked that up. I thought I was going to marry this gal. Really, really nice. We met via Craigslist, believe it or not. About 20 years ago, I was in love. I didn't tell her that. Guys, don't tell your future ex-wife that you're in love, because that will be the kiss of death, and vice versa. But you know what I mean. But I fucked up. She smoked a lot. She wanted kids and all that, which I didn't grasp. I could have had, the house and all that. And I introduced her to my mom. Nevertheless, my mom really wanted to have grandchildren. I don't think that would be the case today, given the world in which we live in and all that. But I'm seeing people on YouTube. That's another thing. You have to look on YouTube as if am I getting YouTubers, whatever, the commenters? Am I making any sense here? The point is not to make sense. The point is I'm speaking out loud, extemporaneously. And if you want and choose to partake, go ahead. If not, and you think I'm a absolute fuck up and nutcase, well, that's your prerogative too. I'm just talking out loud. I needed to get this out. And we're not on some kind of a time limit. It's after dark. This is Rich trying to be a real Dr. Phil. By the way, this fucking Dr. Phil, I give the guy credit. He sold a concept. It's all marketing. This guy goes home after he cries and sits in his Beverly Hills mansion. You think this guy gives a shit about whether you exist or not, or your frailties and your trials and tribulations? He's a con artist who did very well, Dr. Phil. Yeah, now he's got a political axe to grind. All these people, Oprah, what is she doing these days? She doesn't have to run for president. I'm not talking about that. She turned 70. I liked Oprah. Still do, but what is, go out there and speak, Oprah. Talk about issues and shit like that. Go to the inner city. I know she does sporadic, deals. She, buys 50,000 Cadillacs and gives them away and all that. I'm not talking about headline shit. I'm talking behind the scenes shit. I have a problem with Oprah. People like that. And The View. Give me a fucking break. And you know what? I've been called a leftist, right? I'm too conservative lately. I'm this, I'm that. Folks, politics doesn't define me. And I watched this show, and I know being a man, a heterosexual man who sits around and tries to get a pulse of what is out there these days. Watching The View could be construed as having severe mental depravity, And I'm Joy Behar, what is she, about 90 now, with the fake makeup and the hair and this, that, and the other? She's gonna tell me, or a woman, her. It's all predictable. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi, you're a fucking actress. You're not going to define the pulse of the nation with shit. Oh, Whoopi's against this. Jeez, that's flattering. Whoopi thinks that Joe Biden was great. Well, he wasn't, and I voted for the fucking guy. I voted for Obama twice and Hillary and all that. So it's not politics, folks. The View. That is what our culture is. Women watch this shit. I guess they do because they have an audience. Sunny Hoskins. Yeah, she looks like a working mom baking cookies. Oh my God. And then these other yentas that they have on that show, they all look, with their fucking heels and their hair and their makeup and all that. That's what we have. That defines America. The View. What a fucked up program. Want to know why we're all fucked up, pretty much? The View. And I know a lot of you, I don't watch it. You're making too big of a deal. No, I'm not. It's all over the place. We can't not. It's everything. It's almost thrust upon us. Overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed with shit. Look at our culture. Look at what it's become. We have no movies left. We have no stars. Nobody watches news anymore, and they only watch this shit that they see online. And bullshit, conspiracy theories run amok and all that. As I said, folks, I continue to say, we have lost faith in institutions that we once thought were pure and above all this shit. I am tired. I'm somebody who's living it. I am tired of the culture in which we live these days. We don't have any kind of purity. And what I mean by that, as I described today, sitting in a little cafe and listening to a little bit of classical music, I felt like I was getting some purity. I felt cleansed. Then this fucking asshole with his headphones talking to his computer out loud, and me looking, and God forbid somebody else could have said, shut the goddamn fuck up. We don't want to hear your conversation. We didn't come here to hear you talk with this fucking moron on the other end, whoever it was. Could have been his spouse for all I know. I don't know. I don't care. Come here to get quiet time and not listen and partake with these people, their fucking phones. Hate it. Hate it. And their laptops and their desktops and this shit. And I know I'm contradicting myself. I'm talking on but I'm not here ruining somebody's breakfast or coffee. I'm here by myself. Story of my life. Guy's going to tell me how to be a millionaire. Fuck, I'm worried about paying bills. Cultivating a taste for women. Rich, you're really not that bad of a guy. I don't give a shit anymore. You think I care? I cared about 20, 30 years ago when I wanted to have a relationship. The women can't stand me because they think that I'm misogynistic, and which is total bullshit. And I don't really give a fuck anymore whether they believe me or not, or this or that, the other. Women and men. Without women, I wouldn't be here today. Okay, so that's a frock. Yeah, I'm sure I'm anti-women when I voted for fucking Hillary Clinton twice. Why I volunteered to be somebody knocking on doors and making sure they got out the vote and all that. And Trump, and then I'm going to get some guy who sends me shit, which I could give a rat's ass about. Democrat good or Democrat bad, Republican good. Who cares anymore? Does it make any difference? Does it really make it? They're pretty much the same shit. One's a little more corrupt than the other. I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats. Again, folks, it's beyond politics. I used to think it was overblown. People are overwhelmed because they're just trying to live a life. You don't need me, and I'm sure as hell not doing this, folks, to foment division or trust or mistrust in this case. I'm talking out loud. I am trying to specify why we are so foobarred today. Why have we become so alienated? People said, who do you trust? I don't trust anybody. That's why I used to talk and still do about my mom so much. I trusted my mom. She wasn't always right. She wasn't always wise, but she pretty much was. I trusted her. I did. I'm sure you trust your mother. My mom was the kind of woman, I swear to God, she'd be walking down Broadway and looking, find a $20 bill, even a $100 bill. Well, maybe 100, she wouldn't do this. She'd go to the local cop down the street on 7th. She'd turn it in. That was my mom, a different generation. I didn't live, obviously, in the 40s. I wish I did. After World War II. What was it, Brokaw that had that book, The Greatest Generation? Supposedly, that was a time when we did have trust in each other, institutions. We weren't as overwhelmed as we are today. And that was a specific kind of a generation and all that we did. It was a different time. I wasn't around. I know people who lived that generation, and you see them today. You can just look. Older people who are still around and amongst us. And I cry about that. I said to them, God, what are your overall thoughts about this generation? And, it's a cliche to say, well, they they're cynical and, they don't have any kind of value. And, the old, these kids today, when I was your age, all that shit. I know. One sec. Trust. That's a very big word in my vocabulary. And look, I don't pay attention to guidelines. Do this 15 minutes and do that. Talk about kittens and talk about your dog. That's another thing. I don't dislike dogs. I love dogs. I know it's a big part of the world today, especially here in this country. Dogs. But folks, they've overwhelmed us. And everything. I went to my local little coffee place, which I love. And the dog thing, and it's like everybody stops. Folks, they're not humans. They're very special. And I know a lot of you love dogs. I love dogs. I pet, I'm there, and I'm, hey, Sparky, and all that, as long as it doesn't bite my fucking hand off, which it doesn't most of the time. They're cute little dogs. I'd have one if I could take care of them and all that. I wouldn't know what to do. I don't have the money. God forbid they get sick. Take them to the vet. That's $3,000 and all that. I don't have that kind of money. I love dogs. Cats, I'm not too crazy about, but that's another story. Yet they've become a center of our universe and all that. I'm not so sure that's where we're wanting to go. When I say overwhelmed, when we make them bigger than, and maybe in their world, fuck, we're a bunch of miscreants. They're probably right. And sometimes I say to myself, what do they think of us, right? The dogs. And believe me, again, this is not an anti-dog, but absolutely I want to be on the record. I love dogs. But God, we're concentrating on the dogs and sitting around and everybody's, ooh, that's so cute. Let's go pet the dog and all that shit. And I'm sorry. Especially the women who have dogs and all that. They're like, I think it's insecurity because they don't have a partner. And I'm not necessarily saying men or women, but they use it maybe as a crutch. Maybe they're more satisfied emotionally with having a dog and all that. And I get it. I know, I'm not talking about lassies either. I'm talking about these other kind of dogs that look somewhat threatening, but I get it and all that. But when they become superior over our lives, then we got problems. Then we really are overwhelmed, which we are. And I got a lot of people here on YouTube. And folks, I want to be very clear. Whoever you are, and I know there's people that hate my guts, fuck them. But that's all right. They probably say fuck me, but they're on here watching. This is not Rich lecturing, telling you how to lead your lives. This is Rich, as I refer to myself in the third person, talking and just schmoozing, and hopefully one day, God willing, I can live interacting with all of you, because I call it After Dark because it's not intended to be anything other than what it's intended for, and that's just talking about the world in which we live in today. And I haven't read the comments because I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. So I'm just talking here. I'm just trying to focus on the fact that we don't have resources that we need. Nobody trusts anybody. We're overwhelmed. If I had a family, I'd be more concerned about certain things. And I understand it's not just going to the grocery store and seeing the cost of eggs and bread and milk and all that shit. It's getting through that grocery store and taking your kids to school and just dealing with everyday life. That's why I say overwhelmed. I think too, and there's a connection here. Stay with me. I think that's why we have the dogs, because dogs don't give a shit. They're there. They'll love you no matter what. I get all that. People have told me to get a dog. I can't do it. I told you why. Responsibility, cost, etc. I don't want to be disrespectful to the dog. I just don't have the financial wherewithal, and I don't have the emotion. I would go crazy. And my luck, the dog that I would love would, go into the middle of the street and get hit by a car. It would happen to me. I'm selfish in that regard. So, but I think the fact that we have so much entrusted in our pets, that's one of the reasons why the pets are so focused upon these days, dogs, because nobody trusts anybody anymore. Family, life has become so absolute, dependent on these fucking gadgets and phones. Wouldn't it be nice if we can go into a restaurant or some cafe and put the fucking phones in the bowl and not just have phones for a while? And I realize that there's cops and doctors, maybe a priest, a rabbi. Okay, they can have phones because they have gigs that, they need to have their phone. A doctor, obviously. But the rest of us, do we really need to have the phone with us? Can't we just enjoy our life and not talking and looking at our goddamn machines? It's all a part of the wasteland that we have today. Maybe the dogs are looking at us and thinking in their world, what is it with these fucking humans? They schlep us around. They make that our lives miserable with their fucking misery. No wonder they need us. Being, again, a little facetious. But my point is everything, folks. I'm not a psychist. I'm not a therapist. I'm just good old Rich with the weird glasses and the head that looks like Uncle Fester. I, throw all the insults at me. It's too much. Too much. Slow down. Calm down. They even have a song about 5 years ago was again, another fucking Taylor Swift. Got to hear about her every fucking 5 minutes. Or Lady Gaga. Great name, by the way. And what's the other one? The one that turned country and, Beyonce. Yeah, she's a regular Streisand. Anyway, before I get all the hate mail, I like Beyonce, okay? She sings and all that stuff. Great. Wonderful. I'm just talking about in general, okay? This is kind of a pain in the ass, old Jewish guy fomenting a little bit and talking out loud. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking out loud. And I'm not talking about Kron or KPIX or ABC7 with fucked up Disney. You talk about an absolute Disney. What a bunch of, your happiest world. It's a small world. Yeah, Mickey Mouse and all. You know what? I'm glad I don't go to Disneyland. I wouldn't go anyway because I'm, old man kind of shit. I'm not going to go to Disneyland. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. I'm going to pay, $50 for a hot dog and a Coke and go on some line or some ride that I got to wait 5 hours to get. Yeah, just what I want. But what a company. What a bunch of assholes. Robert Iger and all that shit. They're so vacuous. And they invested in TV stations. Boy, I'm really glad. Let's build a better so-and-so. Build a better LA. Build a better Bay Area. Why don't you build a fucking better newscast? All of your stations with their stupid hires. And it's so obvious. Well, let's hire a gay person. Let's hire a black guy. Let's hire a woman. Let's hire Asian woman who's, it's all every goddamn thing they do. Disney. Oh, shit. I talked about it today. PC, or I called it what? Woke run amok. I'm getting more conservative, I guess, if you call it that, but it's beyond conservative or this or damn Republican, green, communist, this. Everybody's got some kind of I just call out the bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all this disgusting shit in which I hate to be so goddamn cynical, but it is what it is, to borrow another cliche. Do you disagree otherwise? So what do we do? What do we do? There is no solution, folks. First off, we can get rid of our machines, but that ain't going to happen. And I suppose 5, 10 years, 20 years from now, will lament the fact, well, I probably won't be here, but you will. Boy, what was it like 20 years ago? Now we got these flying cars, and it's another thing. Just when I want to be in a fucking car with no driver. That's technology. Yeah, till you get hit. What's the purpose behind that? Well, it's technology. Excuse me, I want a fucking human driving the car. Oh, well, it's like they're very, very superior and they're intelligent. And yeah, you can't go to the goddamn airport. They pick you up and you're sitting in a fucking car with no driver. Sign me up. Great, wonderful. That's the world in which we live. So I'm pretty much angry at everybody. You might say, nah, I'm not that angry. I'm just yearning for the days when life was a little bit simpler, when people actually did love one another, when you could actually try, God forbid, to flatter, to impress, to court a woman, vice versa. But that doesn't happen this day because everybody's on their fucking phone and, God forbid, me trying to court a woman without, using body force and all that. We can't even do that these days because we have these assholes out there, of which the majority are women who have no faith in us and our ability to try to act civil and to court them because they're too busy wanting to cancel and to talk about censor and put out of business like they tried with me. Everything today, oh, bad, men bad, women good, women bad, men good. Nobody has any goddamn faith anymore. I wonder, look, I know there are a lot of frustrated women out there. Like, where do they go? I don't do bars anymore. You don't do bars either, I've been told. Where do you meet? You can't even meet anybody. Yeah, go online. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm going to go online. Hi, Rich. I'm Martha. I'm going to send you my photos from 20 years ago when I was not that fat and not that ugly and all that. I mean, ugly. I'm being funny. Nobody has any faith in that shit. No wonder these relationships and guys are on fucking Facebook and they're getting these hookers, basically, or assholes sitting in a cafe in Nairobi. Oh, hi, I'd like to meet you. I just met you and you are hot. Have you seen that shit? No wonder, yeah. We really have a lot of trust in Facebook, yeah. Yeah. Oh, hi. Hi, Rich. I'm Gloria. I'm in a bikini right now, and I'd like to meet you and have you make love to me. Will you? Sorry, I just fucked up my whole screen to make a point. Okay. All right. All right. Am I back yet? No. Okay. Where am I? Hello. See what happens, folks, when you're almost there. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Okay. I'm back. I fucked my whole screen up. But look, I am charming. I am very sexually alive. People magazine, I don't know if you guys remember this. In 1999, I was voted the People magazine the sexiest man alive. Okay. So anyway, that's bullshit too. Who is the sexiest man? What? Because he's on television or the movies and all that. Yeah. Wasn't Cruise? I'm looking at the wall and I'm asking my wall whether or not Tom Cruise was voted. What an absolute fucking asshole. Nicole Kidman, you go, girl. He gets, because he's, 5'5". He wears elevator shoes. And look, I realize the movies and all that. He's a very good actor and all that. But anyway, so talking about women, look, my opening line to women is don't scream. I get all that. Well, you're very funny. We would love to meet you. Yeah. Unfortunately, they just don't come to me. I'm kind of the proverbial, they think I'm an asshole or I'm anti-women and they want to cancel me and this and that. And look, folks, the truth is this. I'm clinically extremely depressed. Clinically. which means I can operate. And yeah, for a man, I cry way too often. I wake up really missing my mother, and I'm not a mama's boy. I just miss my mother. I thought she had a few more years left because she took vitamins and she used to talk. And I went by and we would watch Jeopardy with my mom, and my mom got got so many right answers on Jeopardy, and she watched Alex Trebek, and everything was so fucking great. I thought she had two more, and she was lucid. And then, so you want to crucify me? You want to fuck with me? You want to tell me you're going to report me because I talk about my mom? Go ahead, make my day, and all that. If that's being labeled a mama's boy, then I'm a mama's boy. And I did have relationships years ago. It was kind of like a Woody Allen relationship, right? I said all the right things, but I couldn't close the deal. Couldn't close the deal. And like I said, I met this gal, woman, whatever you want, whatever, about 20 years ago. Met her on Craigslist. But I'm the one who put the ad on. And it wasn't, oh, baby, come and see Rich. I'm an executive and I sell and I'm productive and I got I did humor. I attempted humor. We met, we hit it all off. Of course, she's cute, 10 years younger than me, but very, very together. Has got a good job, really great, powerful job. Lived in San Diego, flew me down to San Diego. Her name was Kelly. And I fucked that up. But you know what? I probably couldn't last with her long term because she smoked incessantly. It's another thing I can't stand. I realize it's an addiction. It's probably the hardest thing to overcome is nicotine and all that. So anyway, I'm branching off left and right. But I met women and women thought I was funny and this, that, and the other, and I couldn't close the deal. I hate to be so, contrived and make it like a sales thing, closing the deal, but that's what it is. That's what it's become. And women don't want to meet some asshole from, the stock market who does shit. And it's not always the men. And women could be assholes too, as you all know. But my point in all of this is everybody in their life now has issues. And we don't trust anybody. We have no faith. I keep using this word, but it really is true. We're overwhelmed, and it's tough. And just getting by, I can only imagine dealing with family and with kids and with, I don't want to be holier than thou, like I care about your kids and all that, but I do. I do. And I know a lot of my readers and my watchers have families, and maybe they're laughing now, or maybe they're shaking their head, or I love these little fucking, what do they call them, emojis. Everybody's got to have, can't, God forbid, talk it out. We got these shoes, emojis. That's the world in which we live today. Emojis. Or I love it. You meet somebody you love or you really like, and I don't mean love like right away, but you're going out with them. There's a little camaraderie. You've got momentum. And all of a sudden, they send you during the day, ooh, a little love sign. The heart. Ooh, love you. Let's meet later. Or will you FaceTime me? Oh, fuck. That's what our world is. FaceTime. So, our media world is fucked up. Our culture is all fucked up. There are a few good things. I can't name them, but I guess. But the society, we're just too busy. We're too busy. That's why sacred time for me is to sit and have quiet time or a little classical music or whatever floats your boat. I don't have to hear latest rap or Highway to Hell, even though I did like AC/DC and all that shit. But just, can we sit and be tranquil, or at least fake it, and sip our tea or our coffee or whatever, and not have this shit with the phones and the headphones and the backpacks and all the bullshit. Excuse me. Love root beer. But, you know, it's becoming more and more of a volatile world. I'm not even talking about that. Did I mention Middle East? Did I mention Europe? Did I mention the United States and politics? I guess in cursory fashion, I did. And I'm sick of all the shit on the, people are just fed up. They're just trying to maintain some semblance of a life. So this has nothing to do with it. Transcends politics and Trump and this shit and that shit and conspiracies and meatloaf and Facebook and all this bullshit. It's all just plain bullshit. You don't need me to tell you this. I'm sort of kind of not practicing what I'm preaching, but you get what I'm saying overall. I'm going to say this left and right. I am not a therapist. I am not somebody who's telling you to do this or that, to go beyond whatever. I'm giving you what I view as common sense, as just trying to survive. And I mean that literally, folks, to survive. The rest is trivial. It's all bullshit, right? Of course. So, all right. I see there's a lot of people, or maybe I'm just, there's a lot of shit that are agreeing or whatever. You don't have to agree with me. What is there to disagree with me? I think a lot of you are going to be, it'll be the same. You're going to see what I'm saying. Some of you are going to, disagree no matter what, which is fine, because that's the world, that's the internet. And some of you are going to just say, well, he's so fakakta. That's a Yiddish word. It means nutty and all that, which I'm going to get. And yeah, I have a little bit of a theme. It's after dark. I got the light here. I got my head, which, looks like a target for, whatever. But yeah, I make fun of myself. Who cares? Right? And if you are a very lonely, deprived woman who has very, very limited, appeal and all that, call Rich. He says charitably. No, but it's just, and I know a lot of you maybe we want to hear about media. We're not in, well, this is a new feature. And if it goes well, we'll see. I'll do it again. If not, then, I'll talk about Cron and their weather department. Then I will go broke, right? Okay. So let me see. I'm supposed to look and talk about some of the comments here, right? Okay. So let's see. We've got, let's see. I still can't get over your mocking of Raquel. Oh, Raquel Maria Dillon, a local. I'll tell you. You want me to tell you? Okay. What's this guy's name? Raquel Maria Dillon. All right. Okay. We'll do interaction here. Why not? Okay. I lost this guy. All right. All right. Raquel Maria Dillon is an Anglo-white woman reporter. She's white. She doesn't have an ounce of Mexican or, Latin in her, whatever, Hispanic. Yet she's using a surname that is obviously made up, and that's fine. A lot of people, they don't use their real names. The point is, why are you, Raquel Maria Dillon, why are you talking in a very white womanish Anglo, but yet you're talking in a Mexican or Latin kind of a, like Rico Chacon used to be, all right? No, but Rico Chacon was actually Mexican. So to answer your question, various people on here, she's a white woman who uses a kind of a Spanish, Hispanic, Dominican Republican, a surname. Draw your own conclusions on that. What else do we have here? Let's see. From was it Auntie M? Dogs are too needy. A dog is a baby stroller, is always. Well, I'm just stating the obvious. Look, dogs, or was it dogs or cats? Maybe it was a cat. They were on the cover of Time magazine. This was years ago. But yeah, and I keep saying this, and I want to make sure I get this out because some asshole, report me to PETA or something. I love dogs. They're cool. They're wonderful. But when they become superior, when we're all we talk about is the dogs and they got to bring the dog, we're dog friendly and all that. And look, I get people that need service dogs, maybe they're partially blind, they have a companion. I know their hospitals are using dogs as a comfort animal towards particularly elderly people. For that, I say applause, massive, hip hip hooray. I'm not talking about that situation. I'm talking about everyday life where they become so consumed and they're like, oh my God, okay, you've got a dog. It doesn't even look like Lassie, but it's cooler. Great. But that's it, folks. This, the dogs, and the bark. So that's what I meant. That's all I'm saying. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we got here? Oh, this is, again, anti-M. So, Rich, that's Pornhub. You'll catch a virus. Yeah, I know. I already talked about that. So thanks. Who else do we have here? Albert's list. I don't know if somebody's posting a link. Yeah, I'm going to go post it right away. I'm sure that won't drive to get viruses. Let's see here. Rich, Dr. Phil, PF. Oh, there's another code. Come on, Rich. Oh, Dr. Phil. I don't know what that means. That's from, again, Anti-M. Let me try to see if I can find Arthur. I have that you have embraced Uncle Fester, LOL. Shows you have a sense of humor. Well, first off, I love the character of Uncle Fester. And I'm far sexier, and I do British accents, whereas Uncle Fester was just some character. In that was that the same show? Remember the Thing, the hand? It was called Thing. Was that from the Addams Family or something? Why am I talking to nobody here? Somebody's going to comment. Okay. This is what I do, folks, in my life. I go on YouTube and I look at the LAX airport landings and takeoffs. And then I think to myself, are you fucked up? Yes. Then I look and there's people fucked all over the place. There's commenters and what are they talking about? And then it dawned on me, well, maybe they're at the airport and they've got gotta have the laptop. Can't sit and have a cup of coffee or a drink. Gotta have the laptop and talk about, Boeing 767 from Australia is about. Anyway. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see here. Albert, I don't want to talk about that. So let me know, folks, what you think of this. We thought you were an absolute nutcase. Good. I'll get that. I'm going to get everything. So I've gone on and on and on, but I think it was okay. I don't look at my own shit, but I wanted to talk. And look, if this works out, and if there's any millionaires out there who want to invest in Rich's mental cleansings, then you know to get a hold of me, Rich.Lieberman, Lieberman @gmail.com, or you can look me up online, and I'm out there. I'm very easy to contact, sometimes too easy. And let me know how you feel. And if you're a troll, welcome to the show. And you can say all this shit. Uncle Fester, how creative. Geez, we thought you looked like Tom Selleck, for God's sakes. By the way, have you seen what this guy is doing? He's doing these fucking, erectile dysfunction ads and this shit that you put in your body. He's like, 80 years old now? I remember him from Rockford. And he was a cool kid, Magnum PI now. This is what you're doing? Like, you need the money, Tom Selleck? Anyway, okay, another subject matter. Folks, it's a keyword. Look it up. We're overwhelmed, but what the hell? So I did my deal. I've talked a lot. I'm going to go down and take a little bit of a break, and we will see you sometime soon. If you like what you just saw, or like Home Alone, subscribe to my channel, and I will be there for you as long as my voice holds up and I don't get these 2-month colds and all that. So thanks for watching. Don't be a what's the word? Don't be a What's the word? I suddenly went blank. Just enjoy my channel, subscribe, and that kind of shit. Okay. Hey, see you later, alligator. Thanks for watching.